sense to talk or not. It's complicated. You argue. I argue at the same time. We interrupt each other between silences. Sometimes it's possible to talk and listen at the right time, but usually difficult. We hesitate about what to say, when to say something. We have thought about this. At times we didn't worry about who had called us. Your sister or brother, your father, your mother. Called us on the wrong number, with the wrong words. We know it's a setup and stupidity. You mention offhand that the most intimate stays the nearest. After 20 years, all earnest and bickering and love and sometimes not. This won't fit into a story everyone understands. It's about something else. It's still too early to talk about each other. Better talk about what to do. Let's stop this. Let's be sensible and turn up the volume to learn to understand the evening. Someone talks endlessly in programs you don't want to see that show you how incredibly silly most people are. You would never be available for this. Calling at your door, you would laugh at them, say, "I'm not available for this." And that's what they'll put on TV. They can put me on if they like. Would be eager to do so. Finally, televising something that makes sense. So much you left unattended. You can't withstand these incredibly busy days when all is silted. I'm having my last beer of the day. And it's still early. Shaking already. Nothing else I can come up with. To smoke, then, makes me cough my head off. There's something wrong with the old body. Nothing left to trip over. No muscle to interrupt. How different, beautiful, strange so soon after the war. We were lucky. It wasn't all that bad. And we were young. Lord, did we have opportunities? In fact, none. But no one gave a damn. Drinks were cheap, and the girls lush and curvy. Days were simple. Our conversations were simple, and we all talked at once, but without interrupting each other. We mentioned so little we can remember. I mean, us over there by the water that summer night, it didn't grow cooler. Sweat made into history. I can see but one night. Were there 10? Were all summers like that? Did something happen to let us know it went on and on like that?
That we were happy, knew what the others wanted to say, understood each other, had families and neighbors, summers that had nothing to do with that. We brought along the vegetables our mothers asked us to, and when our fathers went to pray at dusk, we glimpsed at each other, tried gestures we understood only too well. I thought we were pretty, but not at the time. we failed to notice that we were the actual winners. We should have done what we secretly believed in, having everything we needed. We just had to believe in it. Talking in order to learn what to say about our bellies and breasts. I tell you everything I have to say. Earth makes the impossible happen and says nothing. The confidence that corresponded with the records we were totally crazy about. We listened night after night. We met each other in those songs. That's how I met you, isn't it? And you me. I too, and someone else before that. The first boys to practice with, and you with the roped-up girls. I failed then to see what you didn't understand, and what the fuss was all about. You didn't get how I was shaped, pathetic boy. How little did you know about the body, even your own boy body. Only your tongue seemed bright, a waterfall of conceit but endearing. I could easily feed you, caress you, comfort you. Even then I knew all men had to be comforted, that is all. And it was all about us. And the funny thing is, everything still is about us. But then with death, or diseases that hit the others slightly harder. As we gaze into the distance, and the chaos of mopeds and taxis cannot be denied, in the meantime, we got so much into our heads, we failed to think clearly and straightforward, failed to see what actually happened. We point out the view to our youngest, explain that it grows dark already, and where that all comes from. Somewhere in the here and now that occupies this beautiful child completely, thrives the endearment, thrives the world you have freed from time. We drove back in the midst of an approaching autumn. It was still warm, and again we had forgotten to bring along some water or soda. We stopped at the gas station along the route. We all got out and knew each other through and through. Once in the bathroom I got scared to death, and I had to vomit. After that, I never saw whether I was the one I remembered or remembered I was the same one, with that hairstyle, that miniskirt. The boy I knew so well, I thought it was my boyfriend, or that each garment wanted to shape another one. I tied the cloth even tighter around my head. Not a single hair disrupted the order, and the order was no less than this gas station, the house down the lane, and the house I would refurbish later on, in which I would cook and bake all those years, in which my son would get up to eat and say, he would say anything he had to say, and hopes you will understand as we understand each other. Everything we understand, although its purpose is not clear to us. The instructions of the enforcers in the park, at the door, at the southern frontier, living according to post-it notes. I'll let you know when everything falls apart, when I'll make sense of all the notes I left around the place. Instructions, small parts of sentences, in the middle of the river, fishing water, sleeping water, where the years ran bewildered. It's not hard to imagine that everyone has to deal with the same fate. I bring him home, and I know where to look out for. To once again come home at any time. We're home to wait for you, they told me. If we wait for your homecoming and your stories. It's possible to talk and listen, when to say something at the right time. We thought about this when we lost our headache. The time we didn't care who had called us. When we woke up in the house, no matter where it was. When, out of the window, the world could be viewed, and cattle showed up on the road. I notice how helplessly even you and I think about father and mother, and all the images that have gone through the door. Now that the door is closed, the door cannot be opened in the same way.